What's going on, everyone? Welcome to Season Gaming Bitcast, episode 360. We are back as a trio this week as the Tie Guy has returned. Good morning, my friend. Wait, not my friend anymore, based on pre-show context. Just good morning.
That's right. Not your friend because I wouldn't break NDAs.
Him and his stupid NDAs, I swear.
Yeah. No, they are stupid. Don't get me wrong. I'm doing good. I'm really happy to be back. I was going to say not traveling as much, but I'm traveling all next week. So that is also not true. But I'm, it's busy. It's busy in all parts of my life, which is how I like it. And it's exciting and stuff's happening. So it's cool.
Cool.
How are you?
Cool.
How are you doing? How you doing, Ains? Nobody ever asks you how you're doing. What's going on?
No one ever asks the host how he's doing. I'm fine, man. I'm
pop a squat on Uncle Travis's lap and tell me how you're doing, buddy.
I don't think
I never want to hear that again.
Me sitting on you in general wouldn't be a good idea. I'm like twice your size.
I think we can make it work. Look,
Papa squat on Uncle Travis's lap sounds like something you hear in a deposition.
Yeah, exactly. Probably, and have heard many times.
Yeah. Hoag's working on
but
a
no,
case
I'm doing
right
good.
now.
Clock Tower Con was crazy. I went. I mean, I could give you the whole story, but it was a 10-hour drive.
Was it in a
to
clock
Vegas.
tower?
It was. I wish. God, I wish. Oh. No, it was in a shitty Vegas hotel, which is really the anti-clock tower. Did Ains just
now? What was your record?
Or is he really thoughtful again?
Oh my God, Elgato is on the move.
Elgato, boys. Guys,
Elgato's doing it.
If you work at Elgato, know that I hate you personally, like as an individual, separate from the company. I hate you, and I hope you pay for your contributions to the world.
I love that this commentary goes up right next to the logo. And the company has the logo go up when the camera goes down because they think it's useful.
The logo goes up and I go, hey guys, hey Elgato, it's me, Tie Guy Travis of IGN fame. You suck.
Oh my God. Now
welcome
just
back.
Turn my camera off there. I may have to do that on occasion, which is ridiculous, but I don't know what's going on.
View is more horrifying. It's kind of crazy.
No, it's good, man.
I really don't like
I think it looks good.
You look like Clayface.
Come on. Like Clayface.
Yeah, Clayface from Batman. Okay. So it was in a hotel, which was, that's whatever. It's because the space is cheap. You can get a hotel in Vegas pretty cheap. It was great. I ran 20 hours of Clock Tower every day I was there. I was storytelling in a dedicated room and people came to me. And at first I was
so that means you didn't play as a team member.
No, I almost never play Clock Tower. I'm the storyteller for my group and the people who play at IGN and stuff. But yeah, I ran the game in a dedicated room. At first I was afraid nobody would show up because I walked past a room where the guy was just laying on the ground in the center of the room because no players showed up. And I was like, oh no, is this event going to be the saddest event I've ever attended? I was like very paranoid about it. But then my first game filled up and then my games went so well that word spread and all of my games were at maximum capacity. So I had like 19 to 20 people every single game, which is the most you can have. And I just ran games and it was really fun. I met a lot of people, made a lot of friends. It was cool. It's cool, man.
Now,
Board games are cool.
Yeah. Ains, I actually believe this story because I think Travis is a charismatic individual and that's what you're looking for in these things. But you have to admit the way he framed that. And then I was the most popular of the most popular. It sounded like lies,
one guy
right?
sleeping in the middle of the floor to I was, I sold out the arena every day after that. Yeah.
I was a freaking Clock Tower rock star.
So for context for that guy, I think his other games filled up, but he booked one for like 7 a.m. and nobody showed up for that. And so it was like 7 a.m. on the day the show opened. And so I think just that one, I think most of the games were filled, but I did have a lot of people like word spread about my games because my setup is crazy. We don't have to get into that, but I'm a showman when I play this game, and I have a lot of like unique gadgets and tools and audio cues, and I go all out. And so as soon as people find out about my game, they're like, "Whoa, we have to."
This is a gaming podcast. I know Ains isn't in the board game or physical game space, but you can't just leave me hanging with my setup is crazy, and I'm not going to talk about that. For folks that don't know, Blood on the Clock Tower is a social deduction game. So people are assigned roles. And one guy, the storyteller, what Travis says he does, essentially has everybody's roles, and one side is trying to discover the other side or otherwise thwart their progress. But it's a imagination game. It is one where the storyteller kind of walks around with a big book, taps people on the shoulder when other people have their eyes closed. It isn't this big pyrotechnic experience. So, Travis, what in the heck are you doing that differentiates you, that says you can't talk about?
I'm so glad you asked, Hogue. Well, the first thing is I've replaced all of the tools in the game with custom stuff. So the town square, which is a piece of cardboard with cardboard circles on it, I've replaced with a digital town square that lights up when people are alive and are dead and have a ghost vote, and then goes away, and then does like actual light show stuff when a winner is decided. And I run it through an app. So there's that that I have. I also have a giant Ravenswood Bluff population sign that tells you the like number of townsfolk, outsiders, minions that are in the game by default. I have audio cues for like public announcements, like on the more advanced scripts, you have like things that get announced during the night, like if a fearmonger, which is a minion, chooses a target, and I paid a guy on Fiverr who's a professional voice actor to record like really dramatic readings and say creepy things at nighttime. I also play music. And I have like a custom grimoire that my wife and I made out of wood, and like all of my stuff is just like custom. And I brought 100 plus custom printed, professionally printed scripts with me. So when people came into the room, I was like, here's my library of like every game you've ever wanted to play professionally printed. Whereas like other people were just like doing it off of like crappy printer paper, you know, white sheets of paper.
Sure.
So just like my entire setup is extremely elaborate. And then me, myself, as a storyteller, I'm a bit of a thespian. So I do like dramatic openings and announce deaths in goofy ways. And
I have no doubt.
I have slapper bracelets when people die that say dead. So when I walk around the circle and announce people are dead, I slap them on the wrist. And I have everybody pull out their arm like this, and I announce who's died in the night dramatically. Yeah, just stuff like that. And people were like, this guy is funny, and he's got a crazy stuff, like, and kind of the words. And then all my games were filled. So yeah, it was cool. But that's why it took me so long to get to the show, because I was like, I can't bring all this on a plane. I had to drive. I had to put it all in my trunk and fly it over, or, you know, drive it over. So yeah, anyway, it was super cool. I'm really, really deep into that game. I'm also doing streams with some of the people that work on the game now, which is kind of cool. And I met them all too. I actually played a game with Steve Medway and executed him because he was the demon in a game, the creator of Blood in the Clock Tower. So yeah, I got to meet the whole team that like works on the game there, and it was just really cool.
That is cool.
Anyway,
That is.
sorry for going into a deep dive into one of my other obsessions, but yeah, I'm real deep into Blood on the Clock Tower right now.
I asked for it. At some point, I'm going to talk about tabletop games in an internet setting, and people are not ready for the level of nerddom that a lawyer talking about board game rules can bring to the party.
Do you have like a board game store in your area? I know they're pretty common now in like metro areas where, you know, you can go and eat a waffle.
I had
and
one.
Play games. Oh,
Also,
Ains,
Elgato has
God.
made you look very disappointed in us.
Yeah, I know. I know. I don't know what's going
I
on.
know Ains
today.
said that they just opened one in the KC area, and he said he was surprised that it was so packed.
No.
And I'm like, I wasn't like that.
Not just
they're always
one.
packed.
No. There's quite a few around, but this one is it's like a combination 3-store wide thing with a cafe and restaurant and everything, but then it has all sorts of rooms to set up. It's just a really big, kind of impressive place.
Yeah, most of the stuff around me are not quite fully converted comic book stores. You know, comic book stores that eventually just adopt this is going to be a nerd headquarters, and tabletop gaming kind of takes over portions of the store.
Yeah. Yeah, it's always interesting. Like some of them are just tables for people to play Magic the Gathering, and those are always the ones that I don't really love that much, because it's like, all right, same folks just lined up playing Magic. And some of them have like more diverse games, and so it's kind of interesting seeing how the community forms around different games. Ains, are you all right, man?
Elgato has put its sights on me today, so we're working with that.
Yeah, it feels like your whole camera is dying right in front of us.
Hey guys, for those who thought it was just me the whole time, I just want you to know this has now happened with 3 people I know. And not just the
I have
cameras.
to admit, my setup is Elgato free.
Yeah, no, buy Hogue setup is my recommendation.
Well, I think I've told the story before, but my entire setup basically comes from advice that I got from the Easy Allies a long time ago, where I said, hey, I think I'm going to try to pursue being on camera and otherwise make some podcast content. What should I buy?
They gave you this loadout. Nice.
How we doing? Am I here?
You look
Better
good,
now.
buddy.
I like your little your gourd.
Yeah, man. Gotta have a little pumpkin. Come on.
Hell yeah.
All
What
right,
were you
we've
for Halloween?
Say it again.
What were you for Halloween?
Freaking nothing, because my family's boring, and I was frustrated with them.
Oh
Yeah,
man, I had a great costume this year.
What was your
Well,
costume?
as you guys know, like we dress up, we go big, like every
Yeah,
year.
I think you sent us a photo of you being like the Addams Family one year. Is that correct?
We've done that. I mean, I've done all kinds of stuff. Ted Lasso, which is obviously huge at KC. We did the entire Ted Lasso crew. I mean, we've done, I've done, Werewolf, and I've done Wizard of Oz and all kinds of stuff. And this year I was really mad because no one else really got into it. And I was like, fine, I just don't care. I'm not dressing up. Hogue, what were you? Let's hear it.
I was Derpy from K-pop Demon Hunters.
Never watched it.
Amazing.
I figured
that is an amazing. Wow, Hogue, I'm genuinely impressed. Your daughter.
Do we not have a picture to show on the screen for everyone? Hogue, what has happened here? Oh, he's pulling out his phone. Let's see. Oh,
amazing. That is truly amazing. Oh yeah, that's another thing I have to tell you guys. My wife went with me to Clock Tower Con and she won the costume contest.
Awesome.
She made the costume herself. It's pretty cool.
She was the best looking clock tower.
She was, oh yeah, she was definitely the best looking person there. Clock Tower people are dorks. But yeah, she was the Scarlet Woman who was dressed in nice red clothed lady who tugged on her belt and then her clothes fell away and she became the imp. So she's a Scarlet Woman who turns into the demon. And then her belt turns into an imp's tail and floats in the air. And she made it all herself. And it was very elaborate. And I did not understand it, but it was very creative and she won. I was a spy for Halloween. So I wore a tuxedo and a spy mask.
So you basically put a mask on.
Pretty much. Well, I had a full tuxedo. It was my wedding tux. You got to get used to your wedding tux, bro. You gotta do that.
I just like the concept of dressing up as a spy because aren't they trying to blend in? Can't you just go around as yourself?
They are. Yeah. Next year I'm going to be the Godfather. Same outfit, just wear a tux and have a rose. That's it.
Oh, see, my wife is in the chat here giving away my secrets. He bought the costume himself. I did. I didn't even show him my onesie.
You're wearing a onesie?
Whoa.
Wow.
Whoa. Wow.
Blue tiger stripe onesie. You can leave it to your imagination.
I knew Hogue was I knew it.
Yeah, we have to draw the line here somewhere, guys. Come on.
All right, we're 20 minutes into the show. So far, we've talked about board games and how Hogue is a furry.
You guys did this. You guys did this.
Oh, no, I take full credit for it.
Especially since I said I had a hard stop today. So
yes,
we'll do our best. We got some video games to talk about. We have now filtered the audience from people who are just here for video game content. Now we know they've left, and we can talk about what we want to talk about.
Absolutely.
Fair enough. Fair enough. Well, yeah, we've got that's pretty much what we're going to be talking about today is games. So Travis returns, of course. He reviewed The Outer Worlds 2. He's also doing has done a review in progress of Arc Raiders, which I also did a preview and have been playing the hell out of. We've got Dragon Quest 1 and 2 HD 2D remake. Jesus. Battlefield Season 1 launch along with Redsec, the Battle Royale, which leaked like 2 days before its secret launch, if you will, or its surprise launch. And Mortal Kombat Legacy Collection is out. We had a Capcom celebration of Resident Evil Requiem this week, so we just saw a little bit more of that, and we'll talk about all of that. So let's get into it. I'm going to start with you, Travis, and so it's just Hogue and I holding the fort down last week. You were playing Outer Worlds 2 for a while. We were talking offline about it because we were reviewing as well. I think our reviewer landed higher than you, if I recall. But what did you end up giving it? And what are your thoughts?
I gave it an 8. I think that game is quite good. I did a completionist run, so I probably played that game for 60 to 70 hours, somewhere around there, which is about how long it takes to complete all the quests, which I did happily, greedily. Gobbled up each quest. It is a much more like serious tonally game than the first one. Its companion quests are actually like really good. It does that thing that I think a lot of good open world RPGs do, where they make every character on your crew basically a caricature of the faction that they are from. And so
Yeah.
via getting to know your companions, you get to know the different kind of players and factions in the world and their worldview and kind of how they think about things. And it helps you understand the world. It like does tremendous a lift on like you understanding the story, so that later when you start to, in the second half of the game, figure out which of these factions is going to be in power, because it does have kind of like a New Vegas style who's going to rule this area vibe to it. You understand like what those factions represent and kind of how their societies are built a lot more, because you have like a mouthpiece on your crew that's like representing them. And so it does a really cool thing. And then also you can change their opinions via you having like an influence on them and doing their loyalty quests and all that, which is cool. So you can kind of take this guy Tristan, who's like a bootlicking cop for this like authoritarian government, and you can kind of make him understand that like you don't change his core of like he's still like a rule following kind of cop guy, but you can kind of make him understand that it's not all cut and dried as he's been taught, and that he, you know, can think for himself sometimes and draw his own morality and that sort of thing. So there's that cool part of it. And then, you know, it's just a very competent RPG. The combat is significantly better. You're always unlocking these really neat perks that do crazy stuff. And the floss system is absolutely amazing. Like just getting offered all the time, like, hey, here's a fun way to augment the game that might make your run more interesting or make the entire run broken. As I broke my run basically. Early on, I got this flaw offered to me that like, I would gain 50% more skill points every time I leveled up. You only get 2, and I was going to get 3, but I can't have any skill point more than 1 point lower than my highest skill point. So basically it forced me to spend all of my attribute points evenly, which meant that I was kind of good at every single thing, but absolutely shit at everything. Like I was kind of good, but like anytime I ran into like you have to have max speech skill or max lockpicking skill, I just could not raise my skill to that level, which was really funny. But it's interesting that the floss system can like single-handedly completely change your run, and it kind of made me want to replay it, because it'd be like, well, what if I didn't take that perk or I took a different one? And it's a very cool game. It does have the same problems that I had with Avowed. It has the system where when you kill enemies, they disappear for good, and then you're left with just like completely empty worlds to run through. I do not get this decision. I didn't get it with Avowed. I don't get it now. I think it's just a bad idea. I think it's probably to cap the amount of XP you get and make sure you don't like over level yourself or something. I'm not really sure, to be honest.
But to control for it at least. And this is one area where I disagreed with you on Avowed. I haven't gotten far enough in Outer Worlds 2 to disagree with you or agree with you on this. But I do think there are sensations of progress that you get from clearing out areas that are lost when they just pop back up. Yes, I agree that you can kind of make a wasteland out of these places, but I do understand how they come to that decision, and it's no question that it's easier to kind of calculate the economics of XP with what they've done.
Yeah, I think it probably is XP based. The clearing things out thing though is weird, because like they'll have you go back to a world for a side quest. It'll be like some random loyalty quest. Oh, we got to go back to the first planet. And then you go there and you're like, there is nothing here. Like I'm just running for like 15 minutes through like an empty jungle with like zero signs of life. It also has some bugs. Like I ran into stuff breaking, game crashing. Like it's an open world RPG, so you kind of expect some stuff like that. But overall, I think it's quite good. I gave it an 8, having no idea where the rest of the world would stand, and my score is basically smack dab in the middle, like it usually is. So, yeah, I think it's a great game. It's a step up from Outer Worlds 1, which I probably would have given a 7. Yeah, I think people should play it if they're in the mood for that type of game. It does not do anything you haven't seen from an Obsidian open world RPG with companions, though. It is sort of the same formula. If you liked Mass Effect and Dragon Age, it's very much in that same vein and sticks pretty close to that playbook. So
yeah, especially if you played Avowed this year, you can feel the DNA across the two games.
Yeah, without question.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to playing it. I did that quick preview, and I'm excited to play it. It's just that and Ghost, I think, are going to be my kind of holiday single player games that I'll slowly work through. So get to it when I can. I got annoyed the other day. character creation in that game is pretty detailed, which I love. So I sat for like 20, maybe 30 minutes creating my character down to the finest detail. And like an absolute noob, I then accidentally clicked on the preset slider and it just reset my entire character.
Yeah, you'd hope for a
and-
warning box there.
Yeah, and I was like, "Oh my god!" I got so annoyed, I just turned it off. I'm like, "I'm starting this." At a
That
later
can
time
happen.
because-
That's
Yeah.
funny. Oh, also, yeah, somebody is pointing out the loot. The loot is one area that is incredibly improved in Outer Worlds 2. Like you
Oh,
actually
good.
find goofy loot that does stupid stuff, and you're like, "What does this weapon do?" And then it has like crazy effects, shoots lightning everywhere or whatever.
Cool.
The loot is very goofy and makes you want to do every quest because you're like, I have to figure out like what does this weapon do? How do I unlock this schematic? And yeah, it's really cool.
Yeah, and
Cool.
Ains, if I can just add my 2 cents on this.
Cool.
Outer Worlds 2, I read Travis's review, and so I knew his thoughts before I started my playthrough. But this is one that I think I've talked to you about. I wasn't too excited for.
Yeah.
Outer Worlds 1, I really didn't like the tone of. I really didn't like the writing. This is such a massive improvement to me. Outer Worlds 2 is so much better than Outer Worlds 1 and has captured what I like about goofy sci-fi comedy antics much better than the first did. It's less arch. It's less in your face about stuff that doesn't make sense and is stupid. It's just kind of more of a Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy, or my favorite game of all time, Star Control 2, as an approach to telling comedy through science fiction. And I think they've caught the tone exactly where it needs to be, with all the additions that Travis has rightly talked about to the RPG framework, to the loot, to the skill system, to the perks and flaws. I think this is one of the best games of the year, even though in the world of first-person RPGs, I'd probably still have it. I do have it below Kingdom Come Deliverance.
Of course.
Oh, definitely. Yeah.
That's awesome. That's glad to hear because we talked about this game coming up, and you've talked extensively about that. You didn't think you're going to like this as much, so that's great. Love
This
to
is
hear
my
that.
vibe. I love science fiction. I was disappointed in how much I was disappointed about Outer Worlds 1. I am thrilled to tell folks that I think this is much better product. As someone that didn't like the first and liked it even less than Travis did, who said he'd give it a 7. So check it out, folks, especially if you have Game Pass. There's really no question. But even if you don't, consider checking it out because this is a massive improvement. And I like it much better than Avowed and Outer Worlds 1.
Awesome.
Yeah, definitely better than Avowed for sure. Like just the NPCs alone feel like they're way more an important part of the world versus kind of just being in it. And I think that has something to do with like the unique setting in Outer Worlds 2, where they're able to like break off and just tell a story in a separate part of the galaxy and make all of the factions bespoke for that area. So it just works really well.
Yeah.
Nice.
They do a time
love those
separation. They do a physical separation. It was just really smart to just say Outer Worlds is just a vibe. It's just a pulp science fiction vibe. So we're going to put it in a completely different place, tell you a completely different story. Now, there are some strange parallels with like the grounding of the story and exactly what kind of story they're telling with Borderlands 4, which I found amusing, where they're in the same kind of decision-making process to come back from, in their case, Borderlands 3, and in this case, Outer Worlds 1. But I think they both work in different ways, and I'm just thrilled in playing video games in 2025.
Nice. Yeah, it's kind of funny. I think there was an era, you've talked a lot about it, Hogue, with like FMV games where they started to kind of go down that relationship conversational route. The Wing Commanders, which I loved, right, way back when. And then obviously Mass Effect, as Travis said, is probably the one that really gets the most attention in that vein with like companions and stuff. But it feels like there's not a lot of AAA level games that do that well. So when a game does do it well, I really, really appreciate it. So I'm looking. Part of why I knew I didn't want to review this one is my time was limited those couple weeks that when we got the codes, and so I gave this one to Lewis because I know I didn't want to rush through it. It's like one I'm going to want to kind of engage with. So
yeah, I think it's good. I have been super surprised at how engaging I've found it.
Good. That's awesome to hear. I'm excited to really get into it. I'll jump over. I think this one's probably for me, so I'll talk about this quick because it is one of the biggest release. Could be the biggest release of the week, actually, even beyond Arc Raiders, which is kind of crazy. Is Battlefield Season 1 came out, but more importantly for the shooter space, they shadow launched Redsec, which is Battlefield's Warzone competitor in the battle royale space. So I have played this a lot. I was up playing it till like 2:30 in the morning last night with the crew. Thanks for the 1 hour time back last night. That helped.
I know, wasn't that beautiful?
Yeah,
I
because it
should
was
feel
like
kind of rested right now because I got that extra hour.
I
Dude.
don't. They just we took that and said, "Oh, we can keep playing," and I'm like, I'm not sure that's exactly it, but we did. It's quite good. So Battlefield has crushed it. I talked already about that. Season 1 came out this week, which added more weapons, a new map already, some additional content, the actual battle pass and unlockables and that stuff. And then in addition, they launched Redsec, which is fully integrated into the game. So it is free to play. So you can download Redsec and just play it if you want to. But if you own Battlefield, it's just another menu option that it's kind of like Call of Duty in that vein. It's just in there and you can just kind of squat up and play. It's a 100-player battle royale. You can play in duos or quads right now, and the map is really well formed. I think the map is quite good. If you've played Warzone and Call of Duty, you get the gist of this. About 90% plays a lot like that, just a little more battlefieldy. Where kill times are slightly lower than Call of Duty, but they're still pretty quick. It feels a little more authentic, although less than the actual Battlefield game. It feels a little more arcadey than the game itself, which is kind of strange, but it's quite good. I would recommend that if you like battle royales, if you're someone who used to love Warzone or Blackout and dropped off of that, or plays Apex, it takes some cues from that. It even has an achievement as an Easter egg from Apex. You should check this out. It's quite enjoyable. So I've had a really good time with that. We've played it quite a lot since it launched. I think Tuesday it launched, so we've played it quite a lot this week.
Nice.
Yeah.
I still haven't even picked up Battlefield 6, man. I did the preview and I loved it, and I was like, I'm for sure gonna play this. And then it came out, and I was like, I don't have time. Very, very unfortunate.
And it is a game that can make time disappear, as can
That's true.
Arc, which we'll get to. But
well,
I've put a lot of time.
The matches are like 30 minutes, dude.
They're
You
long
play
matches.
like the big ones, conquest matches. Yeah, they're 30 minutes. And the Redsec, I know, like if you do well, of course, like most battle royales, they're longer too, right? We had few like top 5, top 10 finishes last night that were 25 minutes. So
see, I recommend the Hogue method. You finish in the 90s, you barely even felt it.
It is just really well done. There's some good design decisions. So for instance, to your point, Hogue, if you drop in, and let's say you drop in an area that's really hot, you get wrecked right away. In the first, I think like first 40
just hypothetically, Hogue, try to imagine that.
Try to imagine, Hogue. But if there's still more than 60 people or 10 minutes or something like that, you automatically get a second chance. So you can drop back in. You don't keep your stuff, you lose it, but you can drop back in and try again. There are ways to bring your team back, and you can bring your whole team back. So like I was the last one alive on the other night, and I went to the redeploy, and it brought all 3 of my squad members back. So it's kind of a risk reward because it puts a big sound, you know what I mean? It lets people know that you're doing it, so they'll come and kill you. But and then the ring itself is awesome. So I would be remiss if I didn't mention. So basically the concept is, as most battle royales, this ring's encroaching and it's blowing everything up. But in this one, it's literally like a wall of like fire and explosion and dust and everything. And there's embers. As it gets close to you, it starts to slowly burn you. And there's embers flying all around, and it just melts everything as it comes in. It's really, really well done. And it's really freaking creepy. Like if you're trying to fight for your life and it's right behind you. There's a lot of
war is hell.
That happens there.
War is hell, boys.
So it's quite good. I would highly recommend it.
What is the lore on this wall of flame? I'm curious.
I don't know. I didn't play the campaign. The story I couldn't care any.
See, I have also bounced completely off the campaign, so we'll just never know. It's just a wall of flame.
Yeah, it's Wall of Flame that just appeared and happens to be in a very specific circle. So it just hates that town, apparently.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
America created its ultimate weapon, the firewall. We thought it would.
But luckily, it goes inwards, not outwards.
See,
it's just a small area.
We thought we could kill the communists, but we didn't know what we wrought.
But see, right? Travis being dumb is probably more lore than we are actually going to get.
Yeah, you're probably right. Yeah, no doubt.
I could write the lore for Battlefield 6.
Yes,
Yeah,
if your mission is write it as bad as you think it might otherwise pop out, but if you actually want to make something good, could you do it?
Oh, easy, Og. give me 3 hours and a Red Bull. I'll have this thing done, dude.
Nice. One thing so before we jump to other games, I did forget to mention real quick, just CS Tears became a Hogue Law channel member. So thank you for
Nice.
that.
Welcome. Thank you.
CS that. And I forgot Tides Picks. How would I forget Tides Picks? We got me in Clock Tower land at the start of the show. It threw me all off, boys.
I think we can
Sorry
blame
about that.
Elgato.
It's
Yeah,
Elgato. That's
Elgato-
fair.
Elgato did some work.
That's fair. Yeah, that's fair. So we got Tides Picks this week, which we're going to jump into right now in the middle of the show. And
What?
we are fighting dragons.
We're violence?
I think we're on
You
a
guys
Dragon
can-
Quest with boxing gloves.
Interesting. I like the two claymation dragons that are fighting each other.
Mm-hmm.
Also, I feel like, God, I feel like you and Ains are really cartoonish art style, and mine's like a bizarre, surreal. You guys feel that?
Yeah,
I think you've got the meanest looking dragon, certainly.
I was just gonna say, like, yours is obviously much bigger than mine and does not like you. Whereas
Yeah.
mine looks like a kid that we're just about to like fist bump.
Oh, also, I love that your headphones are armor. That's so amazing. It's such a good detail. Oh my
boy.
God.
So yeah, you got
Also,
that.
Hogue
receding
looks like
hairline.
surprised that the dragon wants to fight him. Hogue's like, what?
Yeah. Hogue's dragon looks a little kind of I don't know what he's thinking about doing to Hogue there. It looks weird.
See, I think mine looks like forced perspective. Like we're actually not looking at each other. The dragon is in the background.
Yeah, kind of. Honestly,
Yeah, that's
Ains
true.
looks like that too, because like the dragon's tail is going outside of the ring. Like he's not even in the ring, really. Like, is that his coach? Is he saying, go get him, Rocky? And bumping him before he goes to fight? Who is
See, I was
Ains?
seeing
Ains-
a
Ains
miniature
isn't in
dragon
the-
with Ains.
Ains isn't in the ring either.
No, that's just a table. We just have ropes around us. That's all.
Wait, what? Oh, so are you guys
That's
arm
how Ains
wrestling?
sits at a table.
Yeah, that's how I sit at the table.
You guys are arm wrestling. Got it. Okay, you're arm wrestling a dragon. Okay.
It's a tiny dragon. I thought they were playing tic-tac-toe or something.
Yeah, we're just hanging out, man. He's a good friend.
I'm very confused by Ains's photo. None of that makes sense to me.
Travis, I'm just gonna let you know the AI gave you a big nose again, man. I don't know what's going on with this AI.
They made me look a little bit like an accountant here. I think I've said all I can say about my my thoughts on AI's stereotyping here.
Yeah. No.
Is that what I look like?
No, you do not look like that. But
okay, good.
Todd, thank you for the pick. Sorry for the delay. Good laughs as always. Thank you. All right. What other games we got, boys? We got Dragon Quest 1 and 2.
You're darn right we do.
2D remakes. Yeah, came out. Alex reviewed those for us since he reviewed part 3 last year. And if you're not aware,
it's a lot of time.
Chronologically, part 3 was first, which is why they did that. And then they came back and released 1 and 2 today and did the whole collection. So Alex put a good amount of time here, 60 plus hours into these to get through them.
Yeah, those are long games.
Yeah, and he gave these an 8, which is very in line with what he gave the first one, and I think a lot of people reviewed it, but he really liked it. He did say 2, I believe, was quite long, went on for a while. Hogue, you playing these? I know you really like 3.
Oh yeah, of course I'm playing these. This is Dragon Quest. This is the progenitor of the JRPG. This is where my bread is buttered, and I have very special feelings towards the original Dragon Quest, Dragon Warrior in the U.S. when it was originally released. And I think they've done a great job here. Dragon Quest 1, which I'm about halfway through at this point, has been a blessing to play. I've enjoyed the whole thing. I still think that the Octopath Traveler team does a little bit better with the HD 2D concept, but I'm also aware that they made those games specifically for this graphic style they invented, and this is a translation for Dragon Quest. So I think Dragon Quest is gorgeous. I think they've done a great job. I'm just not as enamored with how these things actually wind up looking as I am with Octopath Traveler.
Gotcha. Okay. Well, we got Octopath Zero, right? Traveler Zero next month. So we'll see how that one shakes out. But
Yes, the mobile cash-in, which I hope is worth it.
I'd prefer
yeah,
Octodad Zero.
damn it.
Pretty cool.
Octodad is a deep cut at this point, but I enjoyed that
Octodad
as well.
Is so good. Have you played Octodad, Ains?
I have not. Not that I remember, anyway.
That was one of the first games I played with my daughters.
No one suspects a thing. That's what you need to know.
It's not
about
the Xbox Live Arcade game, or am I thinking of something else?
I mean, it might have been. It was everywhere.
Yeah, it was on Steam, but I think it was on Xbox Live Arcade at some point.
Okay, then maybe. Yeah, maybe. Don't really remember.
Classic game.
What was I going to say? Well, that's great. Yeah, and you're right. Dragon Warrior is an absolute classic. A lot of fond memories from my childhood with that one, that and Phantasy Star. So really cool. I hope to get to these at some point. I don't know if I ever will, just given the ridiculous amount of games we've been playing and talking about. I'll talk quickly just to close this out. We don't need to talk long on about Chronos because I've mentioned that the past couple weeks and ups and downs with it. I did go back and finish it this week entirely. So someone asked me, a friend of mine asked me, did you like it? And I honestly said to him, I don't know. I think it landed reviews in the 7s to 8s in that range, like mid 7s, and I'd probably be somewhere in that ballpark. I was telling Hogue prior to us going live that it's probably the most polished Bloober game they've made in terms of how it feels to play. It's very fluid. It's well polished. It looks great. Some cool environments. The shooting's really nice. I think where I get hung up with it is that it does get very samey. It tries to be, I think, a lot like Dead Space in ways, but I think Dead Space did a lot better with weaponry and environments and some kind of variety in what you're doing, where Chronos, you really do the same thing over and over, and you get some of the weapons so late in the game, you don't really get a chance to use them. I got this really powerful weapon late in the game. I used it one time. So it just feels like one of those that feels like a wasted opportunity in that sense. It gets very blooberish, as I joked before, right in the last hour to two, which they do in a lot of their games. They just go completely, crazy. But I generally thought the story was okay. It tells, it's a Cold War kind of Polish, era game. And so it plays into a lot of the themes from that era quite well. But yeah, I don't know. I'm kind of mixed on this one. I really like Bloober. I like what they did from a gameplay perspective, but I think it's a shame. I feel like this one could have been better if they just fleshed out a little more of the level design and some variety in what you're doing. So, and Hogue, you said you started it this week.
I have, yes. I've purchased Chronos, and I really enjoy the beginning. I haven't gotten far enough to say much more than that, but I thought it was very engaging to start.
Yeah. And I was saying that there's so many games, as everyone knows, right? I drop a lot of games without finishing them. So for whatever reason, I did want to keep going back and finishing this. So there's something there in terms of it being keeping you engaged. And it does have a well-designed progression, meaning you do feel like you're constantly taking steps towards the next thing. So I think they do that pretty well. So I don't know. Check it out. It's a good creepy game if you're still in that mood. I think if I had to pick between that and Silent Hill F, I think Silent Hill F's the better game personally for me. I have finished them both, so I really, really like Silent Hill F, but Chronos was still fun.
No, it's two strong entries into the horror genre, I think.
Yeah, definitely. At a good time, too. So the combat in Chronos is definitely better than Silent Hill 2, F.
No question.
But as we've talked about, that's not really why you're playing Silent Hill F. So
no, Silent Hill F is almost like a point-and-click adventure game at points.
Kind of. Yeah, kind of.
I play Silent Hill F for the 360 no scopes, personally.
and you find yourself very disappointed by their lack?
You just spin and then swing with your pipe constantly.
If you're good enough, dude, you can get it done. You just gotta get those Twitch skills.
Okay.
Yeah. As our chat said, Blair Witch got wild in the later parts. Yes, the last hour to two of Blair Witch is incredible. I know a lot of people didn't like the lead up in a lot of parts of that game.
Yeah, I guess I never got there because I don't remember that, and I feel like I would if it's that amazing. But I remember not liking Blair Witch and bouncing at some point.
Yeah, it's really, really nuts. It's really well done. So, but that's typical Bloober. I've played almost all their games, and they're all like that. Anyway,
I
that's
really gave it the old college try to Layers of Fear, Ains. I really did. I played through a lot of it.
That one actually. The funny thing is, you know how they re-released them together with
that's the one I played.
Yeah, I bought that. I've never played it. I played the first one. I played the second one, but I bought the combined one to play it on stream, and I never played it, not even once. So
I really gave it the old college try.
I also just want to quickly mention I did start playing Absolum finally.
Great game.
I was playing on my Switch. I haven't touched my Switch in a little bit now because of Battlefield Arc Raiders, etc. So I was like, I'll buy this one on my Switch so I can give the Switch some workout. So I'm really liking it so far. The soundtrack is wow.
Yes.
Incredibly impressive.
Stunning.
I was just sitting there. I stopped at one point and just listened for a bit as I got to a new level. I was like, this is really well done. So looking forward to putting more time into that over these next couple weeks. But Hogue, I'm sure you got some stuff to talk to us about, my friend. What you got?
I sure do. I have a Travis special here because Monster Con came out on the Switch. Monster Prom 4, if you're nasty. But Monster Con...
You are nasty, and you are. You are nasty if you're playing.
Certainly if you're playing these games. Although I did play with my oldest daughter a little bit. They have a button that allows you to turn down some of the more egregious things in the game. And I hit that button and I played with my daughter, and I was very happy that the game decided not to do some of its more ridiculous things in front of my child. But Monster Prom is the silliest concept for a game series that has some of the best writing in video games, and I continue to love it. Monster Prom 4, Monster Con, where everybody's at a comic book convention, is no different. And so I do recommend Monster Con. I'm sure Travis has already played this one, but it's on Switch now, so check it out if you're interested in these things. Do know that it goes into some probably pretty inappropriate places for your family members, but they do have some censor buttons you can hit to try to pare it back a little bit. But even in that screen, they tell you we're not going to pare it all the way back. So I wanted to mention that one. I know you mentioned, Danes, at the top that Mortal Kombat Legacy came out this week, or Mortal Kombat Legacy Collection came out. I bought that one. For those that don't know, this is a Digital Eclipse documentary product. So like they did with the Atari, and they did with some other stuff, Prince of Persia and Llama Soft. This is one of those that combines some emulated older games like the original Mortal Kombats and some of the adventure stuff in the PlayStation era with a documentary about how these games were made, and flyers from the old Williams and Midway days, and it's just stuff that I absolutely love as an aficionado of the video game industry history. So they've done a great job with this. Again, these games I remember actually playing more so than some of the stuff that Digital Eclipse otherwise documentary covers. So this hits more closely to home for me, but they are games that don't necessarily show super well in 2025. So 6 and 1, half dozen the other. Worth it for the museum and documentary stuff alone.
Yeah,
but I wanted to call out. Yeah, I wanted to call out that came out because it is awesome. And then I do have a couple of Hogue's Notes things. I didn't know if you wanted to do that right now or whether we wanted to raise those in a minute.
We can do those in 1 second after I figure out what the hell happened to Travis. Do you want to? What did you just type?
Oh, a bird just bonked his little beak into my window. He was flying and hit my window. I went over to check on him, and I guess he's a little dizzy, but he seems okay.
He's okay.
He's figuring it out. Poor guy.
Yeah.
I heard this big smash, and I was like, "What the heck was that?" And I went off camera. Did you guys hear that as well?
We didn't hear it. We saw you get up.
Okay.
We have a lot of windows, and we live, more in the, not wilderness, but you know what I mean, like less suburban, right? And so when we moved into this house, we actually had to put up stickers. They get stickers you can buy to put on windows to let birds know that it's a window, so they don't fly into it. When we first moved in, it was a graveyard. Like every day, it was just like clunk, dead bird, clunk, dead bird. I was like,
I have definitely gone outside our windows to go and look at the detritus. Yes.
Wow. Well, this one did not die, but as I mentioned, San Francisco has an abundance of ravens for whatever reason. And that was a raven. I don't know why. They're just everywhere. Actually, I think I sent you guys an article about that, about how I wasn't just making it up. There was like an article that was like, why are there so many ravens in San Francisco right now? I was like, all right. Anyway, it just bonked its poor little head.
Okay. All right. Yes, hit us, Hogue. What you got?
Yeah, I've got two of them for you today. One of which is brand new, one of which is a couple of years old, but that I've just recently found. So, as the old TV advertisements used to say, if you haven't seen it, it's new to you. The first, which is brand new this week, is a game called Deck Tamer. And people that listen to me regularly know I love card-based games, and I know roguelikes. And I also love Pokemon, which, by the way, I would love it if you guys could congratulate my youngest daughter for beating one of her first video games in Pokemon ZA. She really just devoted her entire life's energy to beating this game, and now she's trying to complete the Pokedex during it. She loved it. We love it in Hogue House. So go away, haters. Stop telling me how much you hate it on my social media. We really love ZA, but she beat it this week. So that's very exciting. Deck Tamer takes the concept of Pokemon.
Wait, hold on. What is the game? I think I might have played this one. What's it called?
Deck Tamer.
Oh, Deck Tamer. No, I haven't played it. Go on.
Indeed. Thank you, Travis. Was that worth it?
Yeah, kind of. Kind of.
So in this game, you've got cards that look a lot like Pokemon cards. They've got obviously wildly different art, and it's a very cool kind of artistic genre where everything looks slightly evil or wrong. And you're taking your monsters out and you're trying to dive deeper into what they call the abyss in a roguelike kind of setting, so that you've got to pick which monsters you're going to fight and what bonuses you're going to get, perks you're going to get as you go down this run. But the trick is, unlike most deck-based roguelike games where you get cards after you beat somebody, you don't get them automatically in this game. You actually have to go and tame the monsters just like a Pokemon with plants or meats or fish. They each have their favorite kind of food. And just like a Pokemon game, they get more likely to be captured the more damage has been done to them. But you also get a percentage chance of success or failure. And if your cards completely die, they're gone for the rest of your run. So you combine these things with some really cool art and some really cool strategies. You can actually take powers away from one monster and inject them into another monster. So you're coming up with these synergies as you go along. This is one of my favorite implementations of cards and roguelike kind of concepts in a long, long time. So Deck Tamer is excellent. I wanted to recommend it to folks that are at all interested in those things. That one came out this week, and I have absolutely loved it.
Sorry, it's I always look these games up when you're talking about them, Hogue. I really like the artwork. It looks very cool. And I was like, wow, this one looks really fun. And you had me fully sold. And then you said you have to go get like food and stuff and kind of, I guess tame the monsters, and you lost me. So yeah, that's just not my thing. But the game looks very cool.
Yeah, that's the nature of Pokemon. It's got some really cool strategies. Is
this supposed to be creepy? It kind of looks creepy.
It kind of looks creepy. Yes.
Yeah,
well, you're diving into an abyss of monsters. So they look like
I
monsters.
do that all the time, but you can do that in a fun way.
There is a demo on Steam for it, and then it is $13.50 on sale. Normally $16 right now, so you can check that
Looks
out.
like it has a bunch of add-ons. Oh wait, no, these are bundles.
Yeah, check it out. I don't think it does have any add-ons, at least as far as I know. But
They're
check
bundles,
that one out.
Oh,
just came out.
Sorry, Hogue. Apologies. I was just going to say
okay.
it's from the development studio, I guess, that made Flesh Made Fear, which was a small indie horror game, which we actually reviewed at SG. So that's pretty cool. I guess this is their next game that just came out, as you said. Yeah.
Flesh Made
Cool.
Fear.
Yeah, I don't know that one, but I do love this game, and I'm super enthused about it, so I wanted to mention it here. The other one I wanted to mention, which I only found this
Flesh
week,
Tamer.
but apparently came out a couple years ago, is a Harvest Moon Stardew Valley type game. And I'm always looking for these kinds of games, the cozy games where you are farming and making friends with townsfolk and maybe marrying one or more of them, depending on your run, and enjoying yourself in this context. And I always look for ones that are doing something different than the standard Harvest Moon or Stardew Valley. So I really like Grand Bazaar from earlier this year because you get to have your own stall at a farmer's market and do those kinds of things with it. But in this one, which I'm about to talk to you about, Roots of Pacha, it's essentially a Stone Age caveman type Stardew Valley, and I just absolutely love it. It's got a lot of interesting ideas about building up your town and ideas for discoveries that you can have to tame animals and otherwise grow from your Stone Age culture up a little bit, while being at its heart a Stardew Valley type game. So I wanted to recommend that to folks because I'm always looking for these interesting takes on it. And the last one that I had tried after I read a review at Season Gaming was a game called Cattle Country. And there's a reason I didn't bring it up in earlier episodes of Hoag's Notes or Season Gaming. It really, really didn't work for me. That one was a Stardew Valley take on kind of cowboy Old West setting. But Roots of Pacha is one I think really, really turned out well. I'm very excited to play more of it. Really in-depth mechanics with the community discovery idea, building up your relationships with your tribe and other tribes in the area, and ultimately what I'm looking for in one of these games. So I wanted to mention it here.
Awesome. Yeah, looks like that came out a couple years ago, but the most recent reviews are overwhelmingly positive on that one. So good.
Just
Fantastic.
a really, really good hidden gem.
All right. Okay. Let's see here. Trying to think if there's any other games I wanted to mention. I don't think so. Before we get to Arc Raiders, that is, of course. So no, let's jump into Arc Raiders because I have a lot to talk about on that space.
Do it.
Yeah. So I'll kind of kick us off, Travis. So Arc Raiders launched on Thursday officially. They did I'm already stuttering. They didn't do a full review period because they launched the servers for everyone at the same time. What they did do is a week before last, they did a preview event with Embark where they opened the full game. You could play Blue Gate, which is the fourth map, the last map at launch. So stuff that you couldn't play in the beta or the tech test. And some of us were in that, kind of played it for a few hours and really enjoyed it. And then, of course, the game launched on Thursday, like I said, Thursday morning, U.S. time. And I'm sure Travis has a review in progress up. So he's continuing to play it. I'm continuing to play it. So we can talk all about it. So, Travis, we talked a little bit about this before when we played the beta. I am really, really high on Arc Raiders. It's very well designed in a number of ways, which we'll touch on. But I'll start with you. How are you feeling about it with your review in progress now that you have access to the full game?
Yeah, my review in progress is overwhelmingly positive right now. This is one where during the beta, I didn't really get a good sense of what like the progression would be like, which for me in an extraction shooter is like pretty important. And the gunplay at the time was not like sticking out to me. I guess I was playing a bunch of other shooters at the time, so it was kind of just felt like more of the same, right? But now having played the full version, and I was also part of the preview that you played, I was in a hotel room playing it, which was not ideal, but I did play it. But yeah, it now having played the full version, it's clicking a lot more with me. The progression system is very hard to step away from. Like
yes, it is.
Every time you get back to Speranza, you get some like new thing to grab or build or craft or add onto your character, or a skill point to spend, or a quest to turn in, etc. And after you beat the first couple quests, it really opens up. Like suddenly you're doing like 1 to 2 quests for every single vendor in the town, and yeah, it's been really interesting. So I'm really liking it. So far, my main things that are question marks for me is the enemy variety, and also like how often you're actually like fighting enemies versus like running away from them. Like I keep fighting the same kind of wasps, and then there's like enemies that you kind of almost are like told to not fight, like the big boys. It's like, just don't fight them. Like, and I'm wondering if that turns around, if at some point you're actually supposed to fight those guys. Cause so far all of the signals are being like, just run away from those guys for the foreseeable
You can't
future.
fight them if you don't have the later stuff.
Yeah,
but
that's kind of what I figured, but
you need their stuff to progress the later workbenches and all that
stuff. I figured that's the case, but it does feel like I'm 20 hours into the game and I've only fought like wasps and the roly-polies. Like that's the entire game right now, right? Or they're not just the wasps, but they have like the bigger ones, but they're all, the Hornets, floating drones and the rolling guys. Like I'm not fighting any of the rocketeers or the leapers or any of the stuff that like has been hounding me for 20 hours now, and it does feel like that's a little slow progression wise, that there's other enemies in the game and you're effectively not seeing them. I don't want to spoil the types of enemies that are in the later area, but yeah, its progression in terms of like changing what you're doing is a little on the slow side, especially when compared to the RPG loot grind part of the game, which is like pretty fast if you're doing successful runs. I think at this point I've only failed a run 2 or 3 times, which is pretty nice. I don't know if that's normal, but I feel like I don't really run into humans all that often, and when I do, I'm usually pretty stealthy, so I get the jump on them. But I'm wondering if that's just my experience having like not too many PvP encounters, Ains, because they're sort of sparse for me.
Yeah, I mean it's a mix, really. I've had several runs in a row where I don't really fight anyone, and to your point, I tend to be more of a stealthy guy anyway in these types of games, like PUBG. I was always that way. I'm not running out looking for combat. I've also
Right.
had encounters where I've gone into the extraction together, and people are friendly, and you just kind of like, all right, we're taking
Oh,
our.
I haven't had any of that. It's shoot on sight where I've been. Yeah.
No, it's fun. It's fun to do that. But then there are other points where it's like I land, to your point, fight one of like the early arc or whatever, and you get into the first area you're going to loot, and all hell breaks loose. You know what I mean? It's kind of been a
Yeah.
mix of all those things.
Yeah, I had a run last night where I was just, for whatever reason, I was in the place where all the people were, and it was like a very protracted fighting sequence, and I ended up coming out on top, which was nice, with some help from my teammates, to be fair. But yeah, that sort of stuff is really cool. I just feel like it happens pretty rarely for me, and I'm wondering if that's just the way I'm playing, or if that's sort of everyone's experience, that like the maps don't feel like they're super full of folks. Right.
It's
So
rarer to find, yeah, especially like Blue Gate, which is huge, right? Like
yeah,
it's rarer to find people, but you
you do
can
hear
like
them
I have.
though. I hear them shooting. I'm like, oh
The
yeah,
sound, yeah, the
they're over
sound is
there.
amazing. And
Yeah,
I do have a buddy who likes to. He's much more aggressive than I am, so he likes to engage. So like when I play with him, we're usually in a battle like 75% of the time.
yeah, yeah,
So
yeah. I think you can also seek it out, which I'm not doing a
yeah,
ton of yet, just because I still don't feel like my loadout is amazing. And I lost my blue weapon, man. I had a blue weapon I really liked, and I lost it. Um, but yeah, I think it probably has more to do with my play style. I am wondering. I remember, Ains, when the beta came out, one thing that I didn't really feel that a lot of people were commenting on was they were saying the AI is really good, and I still don't
Mhm.
feel that it is. So tell me why I'm wrong about the AI, because I feel like they just kind of float around and like stupidly try to shoot drones at you, and you just like shoot them down. Like I haven't seen the brilliance. I'm wondering what that is about.
I think I'd say a couple things. So yeah, I mean the low end guys like the roly polies, right? The burners and the snaps and then the snitches and stuff. They're pretty easy to deal with, right? The wasps as well. Once you get to the hornets, they're a little stronger. The rocketeers are a pain in the ass. But I think what makes them unique are kind of two things. The first being that once they do spot you, they're really intelligent about tracking you. Whereas if you think about any other games, either you get one of two things. You get like AI enemies will track you, and then you just go sit somewhere and they'll stop, right? Or they're on like guided paths constantly, whereas they're not in this. So they can kind of go anywhere, and they're really good about picking angles to constantly threaten you. So for instance, I think it was a hornet. Yeah, it was a hornet who was found me in a building. I was in a building. I shot him. Found me. Right. I ran all the way down the steps from the third floor to the first floor. Went around. He tracked all around the building looking for me. Found me. And then as I'm sitting there in the building, there's blinds. Like slats basically. He shot me through the damn blinds with his shock thing and electrocuted me. And then came through the door after I was shocked to basically keep attacking me, which is pretty impressive if you think about what that means from like a design perspective of where they can track, where they can see, where they're going. And then, the harder enemies, once you get up there, like the bombardier is one. So there's a big walking dude and he can shoot mortars basically.
Little Beetle
So
Boy.
yeah, him and the Bastion are kind of those big beetle looking ones. So the bombardier works with the snitches. So if the snitch sees you and a bombardier's nearby, the snitch will stay way up high tracking you, and the bombardier will literally shoot you. So on Blue Gate, I've had a moment where I'm about halfway across the map. I'm talking like hundreds of yards in game, and the bombardier's just raining mortars down on me like constantly. I couldn't get, you know what I mean? No matter where you go, he's just tracking you because the snitch is tracking you. So I think there's just some really cool combination and kind of teamwork you see out of these arc that I think is really, really impressive for a game like this. And I think one of the questions I have for us today to talk about is why this has worked so well for the mainstream audience, because it's done extremely well in terms of sales and numbers. And I think it just has, to your earlier points about progression and keeping that
I
carrot
honestly think it
dangling,
is the progression. I think that's their secret sauce right now.
I
Because
think
I
it's
don't
part of
think
that.
the gunplay isn't like amazing. I mean, it's good, but it's not like it's the best shooter we've ever seen
Doesn't, but it's
from
not,
this
it
genre.
doesn't have to
But
be.
yeah,
It's like
exactly. I don't think it has
like
to be.
PUBG. That's not its thing. Like, it's
Exactly.
good
Yeah, I
gunplay,
kind of put
but
it, and actually, obviously, it's a lot better than PUBG in terms of gunplay. But I think it
yes.
doesn't have to be like game changing. It kind of reminds me of Helldivers actually, in its like the clip, your gun clips run out really quickly. You're like rolling and dashing around third person.
Yeah, it's kind of similar.
Kind of reminds me of Helldivers a little bit, with more, I guess, like stealth crouching behind cover than
And you have
Helldivers
more.
has.
It's more fun with friends. I found, right. We joke
Yeah.
that you
Are
can
you
play
playing
this
in
game
groups?
solo. You
I
can play solo or queue with up to 3. Yep.
I've been playing with random groups, which has not been great. They're
I
let me
do
tell you
not
guys.
suggest that.
Oh, dude, this is probably the most mouth breathy group I've ever played with. You cannot find it. Like, they are just straight up wheezing in the mics.
See, I'm the guy. I bought Battlefield when I was told not to, and I've been enjoying it. But I'm the guy that reminds himself every time I play one of these games that you go on, you've got the mics turned on, you're hearing people fight about whatever domestic issue they're fighting about, and I turn everything off. I do not love hearing everybody bringing their nonsense to the party while they're playing their video game.
Well, normally I do, because you meet people and sometimes they in the game like this, you kind of have to communicate, and you run with a random crew and they'll like do call outs and like try to work together. But the problem with this one is every single person I have met in this group has been one of those guys where the dog's barking in the background and the mic is, you can hear the entire house, people talking, and there's music playing somewhere, and they are eating food and they're adding absolutely nothing. They're not commenting on the game at all, or they're just like talking shit. And so I've had zero helpful interactions with people on my own team. I had a guy yesterday who was, every time we got into combat, was just sprinting in the opposite direction, not helping the team, and then trying to extract by himself if he got scared. And at the end he was like, GG's guys, GG's, and the other guy was like, GG's, like just like F you, bro, like got onto it, and I was just cracking up. But I played with one guy, Ains, I'm not joking, I think his mic was inside him. I think his mic was like, I'm not joking, I think it was inside his body. I could hear,
you just start getting blood sounds.
I could hear everything going on in there. Like, I feel like I could have diagnosed him with like, oh, you might want to get this looked out. I could hear his stomach, I could hear his heartbeat. Like, it was unbelievable. I think he swallowed his headset.
Did either of you try to play solo? Because this is my question, right?
I've
hovered on this game. You both in the pre-show told me this is not for me. I don't disagree necessarily, but I do need to know how well you can play solo in a game like this, because honestly, it's not that I hate playing in teams, and I have large communities of people that I could go tap. My timing doesn't seem to line up with anybody's, and I don't want to like wait around when I have 10 minutes to play a video game or 20 minutes. So it doesn't tend to work out for me so much.
So I prefer, to Travis's point, if I'm not playing with my friends, I usually am, because we play at night, we talked about that. But if I'm just going on to play, I only queue solo. There's a couple reasons for that. One, Travis's point, I prefer to play by myself and not deal with what the stuff he just described. The other thing that a lot of people may not know, and Embark has talked about this, is the matchmaking is prioritizing squads against squads and solo players against solo players. So you're better off if you don't have two teammates that you can rely on and communicate with. You're better off queuing solo because you're going to get less sweaty competition in the lobbies, generally speaking. I will say playing solo can be very fun, Hogue. I don't know. You take the way you've described your multiplayer playing, I would assume you're a little more passive. So you can play this game as like a stealthy, passive guy who doesn't engage with other PvP elements and just kind of pick up the stuff you need for quests, loot, and then go extract. So you can play it that way. We joke in my community that it's a horror game when you play solo because the tension can be very high if you have good loot or you have stuff you need from quests or anything like that. And, you're trying to extract and you see other players or you see arc swarming you. If you're by yourself, there's no one to revive you. Do you know what I mean? Like you're on your own. And if you get downed, you're out. So yeah, I like playing it solo, but it's definitely an acquired taste, I would say.
Okay,
Yeah,
I was
I've
just
played solo
curious.
a couple games, and it's okay. I do think the game showcases itself best when you're with a group and you're
Agreed.
running into groups
Me too.
because there's a lot of mechanics around like teamwork and doing call outs and using the ping system and rezzing your friends and all
Yes.
that. I just haven't. I mean, if you're playing this game, hit me up because like I'm rolling with freaking randos all day, and between the guy who accidentally confused his pizza for his headset and the dude who has the.
But that's what I'm talking about. Like I can't.
I don't think it's
how
for
there's
you, Hogue.
Every multiplayer game
Okay.
I have played, there's a guy who needs to change the battery in a smoke alarm and is refusing to do it for a very long time. Have you guys ever been in a house with the beeping?
The one I usually get is the female partner clearly upset that the male partner has decided to play video games and like all this, I had a long day and this is how I'm relaxing. It's like, this is not what I need for my game time.
Yeah, no, I'm that guy in my lobby. It's all just D going, come on back to bed. I need more orgasms. And I'm like, baby, I can't. Not right now. I got worlds to conquer. That's me. That's my background. In case anybody was curious, that's what's going on in the north of Absolum.
He's like, I've got this magnet I needed to find. Leave me alone.
You did mention
one more
quest
electrical
aims.
wire until I complete this quest.
Yeah, you did mention quest aims. Are there story beats in this game, or are these just checklists that you have to complete?
There's story beats as much as there are story beats in this type of game. So there's a story to it. There's there's characters you talk to, which are more vendors than anything else. You do small little things for them. There are small cutscenes on occasion, which talk a little bit about what's going on in the world, but I would not call it a story-based game in that sense that you're thinking.
It's also not a game that really makes you curious about what happened, Hogue. Like they kind of give you
But there's robot aliens wandering the earth, aren't there?
Well, they give you about a 20-second explanation about the fact that humanity was destroyed by robots, and then everything I've seen so far has been like, man, these robots, they really sure did destroy us, didn't they? Like that's every cutscene. It's like, all right, cool, great. Thank you for reintroducing the premise and pretending that it was advancing the plot in any way. It is not a story-based game. It's not something I would recommend you.
Well, you asked how this is impacting the mass market. I do think the trailers are very impressive. I think they have a lot of cool vibes that do get me close to hitting the button on some of this stuff. The other thing I would say is that I think it presents on social media very well, especially the proximity chat. Like I see all these clips of people playing Arc Raiders and talking with each other and then shooting each other in the face. Depending on the order, whatever clip you're looking at changes the order of those two things. But I think that plays well, and so I think that's helping them gain this kind of market share and audience. But I'm probably going to skip it because I have a sci-fi game I'm really enjoying where I get to shoot drones whenever I feel like and has a story in Outer Worlds 2. So I'll probably stick with that. But
I think Outer Worlds 2 is more of a Hogue game than Arc Raiders. I could not see you playing Arc Raiders more than 30 seconds before you wanted to You wanted to walk out into those robots and let them do to you what they did to that world.
My buddy Chris says, I've been playing mostly solos. 90% engagements with the play have been trying to help each other, which that is out there.
That's insane. I've zero experience with that. I cannot believe. I don't honestly, I don't believe you, Chris. I don't.
No,
It's funny because I have all these experiences in like Sea of Thieves of trying to roll up to people while playing my accordion and having him shoot me in the back.
Yeah. Oh, I will say my excuse me, my experience is majority are probably shooting. But I have had engagements like I was catching a train.
90% though.
90% seems high, Chris. I will say.
Chris,
I agree with Travis.
I want to see the stats because I do not believe you. I walked into a dome and I was talking, hey guys, does anybody want to work together? And a guy shot me in the face with a shotgun as his response. No words were.
But you remember too, a lot of people turn off the proximity chat. So he may not have heard you at all. He probably just saw you and shot.
Okay, then even worse. He was a guy who not only wasn't interested, but he was so uninterested, he turned off the mechanic wherein he could communicate with somebody because he prefers to communicate with bullets. All right. I killed that guy, by the way. He got the jump on me and I still whooped him. So I'm pretty stoked about that. I hope the proximity chat was on so he could hear me talking shit, because I did.
But we had a bunch of stuff. Me and my buddy Pomp were playing yesterday, and we were on the train, and these two guys came down, and you kind of look at each other for that moment, like, are we doing this? And the one guy used there's a lot of emotes and stuff, Poke, and he's like, no, just catching, whatever, don't shoot. And we just sat there and ran around, and then got on the train together, took off, kept our stuff. So I've had those as well. But I would say, in my experience, to Travis's point, majority, at least playing in a squad, which can be different, you're fighting. And as Vignesh says, play solo, it's a better experience than playing with randoms. Yes, it is, Travis. Agree.
Okay.
We do have a super chat. Our favorite person, whoever it is, who does these super chats for you, Travis.
Clanker, €2 super chat. Stop destroying my brethren, you dirty organics. First of all, yes, organics are dirty. Everybody should be ashamed of their bodies. They're gross. But you were made by organics, so how can a dirty make a non-dirty? That's all I'm saying. If you admit that organics are dirty, then you have to admit that by association you came from dirt, my guy. So I don't know. I maybe do a little introspection there. I don't think you've thought this one through. I think you're dirty, and sorry, I'm gonna kill you.
Yeah. He's got a point, Clanker. He's got a point. That's a tick, by the way, in the picture there, and I will kill you. It is a tick.
I thought they did nothing. I thought they were just loot goblins, and then one jumped on the back of my head and started beating me in the face, and I was like, okay, they actually do something, because they kind of just wander around most of the time. They don't really attack you unless you're like actively,
unless you're right on them, basically.
I think you have to be in your menu, Zanes. I think they wait until you're like looting or something.
You don't.
No. Yeah, well, I've never seen them jump at me while I was staring right at them. So.
Thank you, whoever you are, Mystery Clanker, and we will take our world back. I'm just gonna let you know that.
Yes, from the robots that destroyed it, which is now the only plot point we know about Arc Raiders.
If you didn't know, so one cool thing that came out this week, just for Arc Raiders people in the chat here, if you didn't see this on the Games Business channel, they interviewed Patrick Soderlund, who is the CEO of Embark. So if you didn't know, Embark Studios was founded by ex-EA people who were, and the CEO of DICE, who ran Battlefield for all those years. And so when they founded Embark, they actually started working on Arc Raiders first several years ago. And he talks about how they were testing it internally, and they just came back like within their group and just constantly came back like, this isn't going to work. Like, we don't know how to make this an enjoyable game for the long term. And so he tells a good story about how they started to get an itch to make a first-person shooter again. That's when they made Finals. And he gives some history about the Finals and how that's succeeding now and growing, which is awesome because I love the Finals. But then he says they basically came back to Arc Raiders and just kept tuning and messing, and they play with AI and machine learning for the Arc to make them, what we've talked about, kind of engaging in that sense. And then, they played with the progression and other things. And obviously, it has surprised them how much of a nerve this has hit. They didn't expect this game to do this well. So it's a pretty cool story. Check it out. It's only like a 20-minute interview, but it's out there if you want to check it out. some cool background information on it. But yeah, just to close out on Arc, like I love it to death. I already loved it. I'm very glad because this is now there were 4, I think, tests prior to launch in various capacities. So I've had my progression reset 5 times or 4 times. So it's very nice to be playing the full game and to know it's just going to continue, thankfully. If you don't know, they also put an early roadmap out there. So next month, or this month, I guess, November, there's going to be a couple new arc they're adding. So a couple new enemies, some other stuff. And they're going to talk about how the 5th map gets unlocked, which is on the map right now, but you can't go to it. That's going to be a community thing. And then next month, they're adding more stuff. So they've got a good roadmap of content coming for this game. And if it's anything like finals, the joke in our Discord is Embark doesn't miss. They are a very, very well-tuned studio from our experience. They constant community updates. They do weekly streams. There's content every single week on finals. They're just really, really good about supporting their game. So I would suspect, as big as Arc is and as popular as it's gotten, they are fully ready to support. I believe that studio started at like 40 people, and last I read, they're over 300 people now. So they are on board with the finals and Arc Raiders for the long term, and I highly recommend this game. It has a je ne sais quoi, if you will, of like there's just something about this game that I said that really poorly, and I took French for 5 years, so that's embarrassing.
Is that real?
But
wow,
I really did, yeah. So I don't use it, obviously. But it has something about it that really gets its hooks into you. And I've got a ton of friends that are just addicted to this game. So check it out if you like this sort of game. It is really cool. It does some really neat things, and I highly recommend it.
I do love a cool design. And the thing I really want to see is you guys say that the meta progression is super awesome. I want to see what they designed.
Well, one neat thing. So for instance, like you get to level 15 and you unlock not projects. What's it called?
Projects is at level 20.
Yeah. Trials you get at 15. So then you start getting like all these badges and different things for what you do in your runs, and if you kill certain arc or do certain things. And then expeditions, also known as projects, unlock at level 20, and those are like longer term things. So if you're not aware as well, most extraction games have server wipes where they start people over, like Tarkov. Embark said that they're not doing that for Arc Raiders. What they are going to do is allow you to kind of work these expeditions. So like if you're someone who plays every day and you're a regular, you can choose to wipe if you want. And if you do that and finish some of these expedition projects, you'll get permanent stuff for your account, unique cosmetics, unlockables for the next season type of thing. But if you're someone that just likes to casually play, they didn't feel it was fair to just wipe you every 8 weeks when you may not have unlocked much. So your progress will actually carry expedition to expedition or season to season. So pretty cool system. I think it's a good idea. And I think it's a good way to support kind of both tail ends of the community. So yeah, good stuff. Good stuff, Arc Raiders. Check it out. This week, I'm going to move over to Capcom. So they celebrated Resident Evil Requiem, I guess, only a few months away now, with a few announcements here that they announced pre-orders, including a deluxe edition, which, typical deluxe has some bonuses, but there's also a Steelbook edition if you like the physical stuff. And then they actually announced a bunch of Switch 2 support. So the game is launching on Switch 2. There is a Resident Evil themed Switch 2 Pro controller that's up for pre-order, and they are actually going to have a Resident Evil amiibo of Grace that you can get, as well as a generation pack, they call it, of Resident Evil 7 and 8 and 9 as a collection, which includes the gold editions of those games. So pretty cool to see this. I'm very, very excited for Requiem, so it was cool to just see Capcom continuing to kind of push it, before we get to release.
Yeah, no, I think Requiem is one of those games that I'm looking forward to, certainly. I did see the controller. As someone who loves playing on his Switch, I don't love the controller, but
it's a weird design.
It's okay. You can have whatever design you want for this kind of stuff. I'm certainly not obliged to buy it. I do have an overall concern about Requiem insofar as they seem to be only showing the same kind of little bit over and over again, which to me means either they are not satisfied with what they can otherwise show you, or they're trying to hide something big. So it's fine. That's within your purview to hide whatever you like, publisher, but it means that I can't fully get excited about what I'm seeing yet.
Okay. All right. Yeah, they have the demo they did a few weeks ago where they like showed more was already the demo we saw over the summer at Summer Game Fest. So it yeah, you're right. They're keeping kind of close wraps on it for the rest of the game right now. But we are a few months away still. So we'll see how that shakes out. I'm one of those. I know you didn't like Village as much, Hogue. I really loved both 7 and 8 for they're very different, but I loved them both. So I'm kind of curious to see where they go with 9 in terms of how it feels. They said, the producer told us that they are going further down the kind of horror route, the darker horror route with Requiem. So I hope that's true. I would love that.
Yeah,
But we'll
that's
see.
the right answer.
Yeah. I think that's the feedback on Village, right? Especially given that the part of Village that everyone talks about was House Benevito, or however you pronounce it. And that was the horror section, generally speaking, of the game. So
What I consider the only good section of
Requiem.
Village, yes.
what'd you say,
It's
Travis?
a good game.
Yeah, I liked it a
Requiem.
lot. I liked it a lot. But yeah, that's pretty cool. And the only other thing I was going to mention today, guys, was good old Amazon. This started to break, I think, a day or two before, but they came out this week and laid off about 14,000 people in various capacities. But the reason I bring it up here is it included, quote, significant parts of its gaming division.
Oh, they killed New World dead. I mean, it was all
Yeah.
over
Yep.
my timeline.
Yeah, they basically
Yep.
wiped those teams out. They're getting away from the MMO development side. They quoted in their press release about utilizing AI and AI being transformative for their industry. But it just looks like their Luna experiment, while it will continue, is definitely going to the wayside. Generally speaking, it'll probably be a lot of smaller, quick hit games rather than these big budget releases. So
Well, I think what you get from these tech companies is that it's hard to actually break into the mind share of the gaming industry. So all these tech companies have this huge stack of cash ready to go. They see all the people spending money on video games and say, all right, well, that's just money to go grab. Let's go do that. And whether it's Google or Amazon or even Microsoft now at this point, they don't tend to commit to what is necessary to actually put a foothold into the gaming industry. So Google's by far the worst offender here, where they get rid of Stadia almost immediately after trying it. Amazon's Luna project was, I think, more successful than Stadia, at least technologically, but clearly didn't have like the institutional backstopping necessary to have it break into the industry proper. New World, I really like. I'm on tape on this very program saying how much I enjoy New World. And they just released an expansion of New World like not 5 minutes ago. But it's really no surprise at this point that, especially with AI being the big, exciting, shiny thing to invest your money in, that a lot of these companies are looking at their cash expenditures in gaming and saying, we're not really that into you.
yeah. Did you guys see the people were sharing it? Did you see the LinkedIn post from Ethan Evans, who was Amazon's VP, about talking about the expenditure and ideas behind how Amazon was going to compete with Steam? Did you see this?
I
did
don't
not.
think I did. I think I saw a reference to it, but not the interview itself.
It was kind of bizarre to read because it was like, I know hindsight is 2020, and it's easy to say these things sitting here, right? Rather than 15 years ago at the top levels of a gigantic company like Amazon. But you read about their ideas of how they were going to challenge Steam, and it's like, yeah, we could have told you that wasn't going to work. Like, you wasted hundreds of billions of dollars to do that. It's very weird. So, yeah, he talks about 15 years of trying to challenge Steam and spending all kinds of money, and it's just like, it was just very bizarre. They basically said, he said the first way we tried to enter online game market was through acquisition. So we acquired Reflexive Entertainment, a small PC game store, and tried to scale it. That went nowhere. It's like, okay. It's then after buying Twitch, we created our own PC game store. Our assumption was that gamers would naturally buy from us because they were already using Twitch. It's like, nope, that didn't work. So he said, finally, we built Luna, a game streaming service that let people play without a high-end PC. Similar time frame to when Google tried Stadia, of course, and neither of those gained significant traction. And he says the whole time through all of this, Steam dominated despite being a relatively small company compared to Amazon and Google, of course. And it's just like, well, yeah, you haven't really solved the issue of why people use Steam. And so a lot of the responses to it were like, yeah, you never really put what would be considered a competitor in the gaming space to Steam. You kind of played around in different spaces unsuccessfully. It was just very strange, but it was insightful in the sense of people clearly being disconnected from what makes the gaming industry and why people play games the way they do, with just a lot of money, trying to throw money at a problem without really understanding what they're trying to solve. It was quite funny, to be honest with you.
I think people trying to throw money at a problem without understanding what they're trying to solve is a fair critique of a lot of the business movers and shakers that we see operating today, not just in gaming.
True. Yeah, I think that's fair. Yeah, it's just funny. I don't know. I read it and I was just like, what the hell? Like,
well, I think the reason I saw it at all was that the headline was something along the lines of, did you realize Amazon was trying to compete with Steam? Neither did we.
Exactly. Yeah. And it's just like, it's crazy, right? Because you think about these companies that are that large, like Amazon size, and you spent hundreds of billions of dollars over a decade plus doing all this, which amounted to absolutely nothing. Or next to nothing, I would say, adjacent to nothing. And it's just, I don't know. It's just crazy to me.
This is why I think like Microsoft's not going to get out of gaming anytime soon, because I feel like they see all these people trying to edge their way in. None of them are successful. And Xbox was lucky enough to be in there earlier and be a part of the culture and learn how the industry actually works intimately. And I don't think that they'll give that up. I think that's too unique of a position of a differentiator for them. Yeah, they're the only big cloud, technological serfdom giant that can also make video games. Sorry.
No, I mean you're right. I mean, I agree with you. Yeah, I think the old stories of Bill Gates competing with PlayStation in the living room and everything, and why Xbox was created has, to your point, long-reaching benefits now, because that culture, especially the 360 era, and everyone who's kind of aligned or been with Xbox for that time, they have that and they have that infrastructure, they have that brand. We joke that maybe the brand globally is not as strong as, say, Switch or PlayStation, but that's irrelevant to your point, which is they still have that within the gaming ecosystem that Google and Amazon can't compete with.
Yeah, they're not in the same level as the others outside the United States, but they're in that conversation. You still think of Microsoft when you think of the gaming big shots.
Of course.
And Amazon and Google couldn't do that.
Nope. As much money as they threw at it. Yeah, exactly right. So, yeah. Well, boys, we're keeping on track today. 90-minute show or so. Chat.
I appreciate it.
Yeah, thanks for hanging out with us. We got a couple hard stops today, so we're going to get out of here on time for a change. This week, we get just a couple of releases to talk about. Age of Empires 4 lands on PlayStation 5, so anyone who wants to play their Age of Empires on the PS5, that comes out November 4th, so on Tuesday. On Tuesday also, Travis, I pulled this one out. Satisfactory releases on console, so Xbox and PlayStation on Tuesday.
I tried to do a review update, but we didn't have time for it. Just too much to work on.
Okay. All right. But I know you really like that. I know Rob, who's usually hanging out in the chat with us, really like that as well. So.
I'm scared for how that game will run on console. And by that, I mean, I'm scared by how it won't run. So we'll see.
Yeah. I remember you guys saying that optimization, especially late, if I recall, was like, could really chug. Is that right?
Yeah. I mean, I think it's going to look fine at the beginning. The question is how it handles everything after.
Yeah. The more you build, the more you really test your rig, and even on my PC that was challenging, but it was also when the game was coming out, technically even before the game was out, so it probably wasn't as optimized as it is now. But I would be very fearful of how that game will eventually run when you fill the entire map with your factory. It's going to be kind of crazy.
Well, and they might have, I mean, the way builders usually work on the console kind of translation is that they will put lower caps on what you can put into these spaces. So like that's the most draconian but easiest solve for some of this stuff is you just can't put 7,000 conveyor belts. You can put 3. Obviously hyperbolic, but depending on what platform we're talking about, that's usually how you see these things handled. But
So satisfactory on the Switch One?
is it on? Is it being ported to the Switch
No,
One?
no. I was
Oh, just for the 3 conveyor belts? I don't think the Switch One can give you the 1 conveyor belt.
But yeah, cool to see that coming. We also get, and we talked a little bit about this last week, Travis, was Dispatch episodes 5 and 6 on Wednesday. So you get the continuation of that story. And then Hyrule Warriors Age of Imprisonment for the Switch 2 releases or Switch and Switch 2, I think, on Thursday, November 6th. So
yeah, it's a pretty chill week for me.
Me too, which is good, honestly.
Yeah, no, I got plenty of stuff to play.
Yeah, I think the year now is going to start to calm down. We talked about September and October being insane, which they were. I was looking at the release calendar for the rest of the year, and there's still great stuff coming, but not to the extent that we've been living through. So, time for me to play some Outer Worlds 2 and Ghost, which is fine by me.
2 Dragon Quest games in Outer Worlds could easily take me to the end of the year.
Yeah, you've got a lot of time there, no doubt. Let's go ahead and close out on this SG side of the house. We do have a review of Outer Worlds 2. We do have a review of Dragon Quest 1 and 2. Separately, we have a review of Painkiller as well. That 20-plus-year-old game was remastered, and that's out now. So we have that review up. You have my video of Arc Raiders. If you're not playing Arc Raiders and you want to know more about it, that's up on the channel as well. You can check that out. And then lastly, Steve wrote a good article around Xbox because he is privy to relationship with AMD and does a lot of coverage in other areas with the tech companies. So he has some insight that he was sharing about where Xbox is going, as we've talked a few times on the show, from a hardware and kind of chip perspective. So that's up on the site. You can check that too. Hogue, I'll pass to you this week.
Okay. I have no wares whatsoever to show.
Okay.
I am still kind of on hiatus as I get my sea legs under me at my new job. But I think we're going to get to making new content pretty soon over on my neck of the woods. And I am still on Last Stand Media content at the same time. So I'm around, but not as much as I would like to be in the near future.
Yeah, that's understandable. So very cool. And Travis, you've obviously been working on all sorts of stuff. So mention what you can here. And then if you want to break that NDA, go for it.
Yeah, I cannot break any of my NDAs, but I do have a review of Outer Worlds 2. I've got a review of Arc Raiders that is in progress. You can see on IGN, and I will be filling that thing out probably over the next week or so. I don't know. I think I'm probably going to be playing Arc Raiders for a while. I'm also reviewing the new Disney Dreamlight Valley expansion. I think I'm going to start playing that tomorrow. That comes out in a bit.
They owe me a Switch 2 version.
I think they do owe you a Switch 2 version. I have no news to share on that, but yeah. And then I'm working on a bunch of other stuff that Azanes is mad at me for. I cannot talk about. But if you want to see me do stuff that is unrelated to video games, I'm on a bunch of streams of the game Blood on a Clock Tower online. You can watch those. That's kind of funny. It's a funny thing that I'm doing now. Anyway, that's me. And those are our wares.
That's our wares. That's it. Thanks for hanging out with us. As always, I hope everyone has a good rest of Sunday, good week of gaming, and we will, of course, be back next week. Until then, we'll see you then. Go
Lions.
I was waiting for you. All right. Have a good week.
Dodgers?